while being a father feels like you are a hero in your own way. Itsuki Yuga gets the chance to save a world called Granvania by fathering children called the Star Children. So how does he do it? Let's find out! Hi guys and welcome back to AniCap Explained. Today we'll be recapping the anime conception, so let's begin. The story begins with Mahiru Kanetsuki, Itsuki's cousin and childhood friend, telling Itsuki that she's pregnant. Suddenly the two of them get sucked into a magical portal that takes them to Granvania. Mahiru begins to emit magical energy that summons an impurity. Itsuki defeats impurity and they try to explore the world around them. While exploring, a strange animal named Mana tells them where they are. Mana calls over Narcisse, who is a court scholar of the kingdom, and tells him that Itsuki and Mahiru are both visitors. They bring the two visitors to meet the ruler Shangri-La. The ruler orders the two of them to save his world. In the evening, Itsuki meets the palace physician Rion. He learns that he needs to perform the love ritual, and the ritual involves having babies with the 12 star maidens. He first performs the ritual with Mahiru. Mahiru and Itsuki perform the ritual and the first star child is born. They are told that heightened emotions are the only thing needed to have a child. The next day, Itsuki and Mahiru run into a black-haired girl carrying bread in her mouth. In a classroom, the two visitors meet the other maidens. While the maidens are introducing themselves, he notices the black-haired girl he ran into is among them. She introduced herself as Ruka, the Cancer Star Maiden. The next day, the 12 maidens with Narcisse and Itsuki go on a picnic together. Ruka and Itsuki separate from the group and go flower picking together. The next day, Mana and Itsuki visit the foster home Virgo is training and meet the instructor named Alfie. He sees Ruka help a child nearby and asks her to perform the love ritual with him. Ruka agrees and tells him she hopes to have a strong and cute child. After the ritual, Shangri-La gifts Itsuki with 12 star wards to aid him when he enters the labyrinth. Mana, Itsuki, and his 2 star children enter the labyrinth. However, they fail after facing their first impurity lord. Itsuki vows that he'll make more star children. After several defeats, Narcisse tells Itsuki he must perform a double love ritual, which requires 2 maidens to perform the ritual with him. Back at the hospital, Rion volunteers to be one of the 2 maidens to perform the ritual with him. He tries to convince Farron to complete a double love ritual with him, but she gets a little upset with the offer. Itsuki nibbles her ear to seduce her into participating, and she eventually agrees. It was only supposed to be a practice round, but Itsuki produced 2 new powerful star children called Capri and Scorpi. With his new children, Itsuki defeats one of the impurity lords. After their victory, a scream and an earthquake rumble across the kingdom. A frustrated Itsuki runs away from Mana and finds himself in a church with Ari, the Aries star maiden. He decides to come back later because Ari is busy. At lunch, he encounters the other maiden Yuzuha, who represents the Pisces constellation. The next day, Itsuki and Yuzuha go on a picnic. Yuzuha brings her coffin with her and she shows Itsuki all her painting supplies she keeps inside. Suddenly, Yuzuha gets upset because she thinks people insult her, so she returns home. Itsuki tries to invite her out again and the two of them have a good time together. Yuzuha agrees to have a child with Itsuki and the two give birth to a child together. After the event, Itsuki gives a present to Ari. However, Ari starts using her whip on him out of nowhere. The adventure continues and Itsuki and his star children defeat another impurity lord. Mana proposes they take a break so Itsuki can make more children before they face more impurities. The entire group departs on a hot summer vacation. Lilith, the Gemini star maiden, complains that Seiya has been bothering all the maidens in the academy. Itsuki doubts her, causing Lily to take over Lilith's body. When the two switch bodies again, Lilith reveals that it was thanks to her future telling that she could stop Seiya from bothering the other girls by sending Mana over to take care of him. Lilith and Itsuki decide to perform the love ritual, but she feels embarrassed and switches with Lily. Since Seiya failed to get Lilith's attention, he decides to pursue Ari instead. However, Itsuki barges in, catching Seiya and Ari in a compromising position. Ari shows Itsuki her weapon and they all get excited. Itsuki then requests Ari to have his child and she agrees. Itsuki still has to make more children with the other girls, but he feels guilty about forcing Colette, the Aquarius star maiden, into doing something impure. As the day drags on, the only customers that visit the bakery are the other maidens and the star children. Owners from a rival bakery then appear and try to bully Colette into selling her shop to them. The star children then insult the bullies, causing them to run away. However, Colette still considers selling the shop. Mana tells Itsuki that the rival shop is owned by the family of Femiruna, the Leo star maiden. When Itsuki pleads with Feminura to help, she refuses. Femiruna accidentally hits her head, so Itsuki and Mana decide to take her to another place where she can recover. Femiruna misunderstands the situation and thinks she has been kidnapped. She gets hungry but refuses all the bread Itsuki has been giving her. She finally gives in and eats some of the bread. Eventually, Femiruna agrees to perform the love ritual with him. Meanwhile, Narcissus worries about the danger brewing at the labyrinth. Interesting story up to this point? Great, but before I move further, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Done? Well then let's continue. While everyone is preparing for the Holy Star Festival, Teruya, the Taurus Star Maiden, delivers a letter to Itsuki. He visits Colette to help her bake happy bread to sell at the festival. However, all her prototypes seem weirdly shaped or have odd flavors. Finally, she and Itsuki create Chikawa sausage bread, which they will sell at the festival. To show her gratitude, she tells Itsuki she's ready to have his child. The two collapse into a bed. As they kiss, they successfully create a new star child. After the birth of his new star child, he helps Teruya. After finding the missing letter, they hurry to deliver all the other letters. Tora delivers her letter to Itsuki and he writes back to her asking her to perform a love ritual with him. They embrace and have a star child together. By this time, almost all the girls already have star children with Itsuki. To speed things up, Mana creates a game show to decide which maiden will perform the ultimate love ritual with Itsuki. Su, the Sagittarius maiden, and Mairi, the Libra maiden, are the only ones to not have produced any children. Luckily, the two win their challenges and can participate in the ultimate love ritual, which evolved into an ultimate double love ritual because Itsuki didn't want to choose between them. Mairi uses a special gas to heighten the experience and they get two new star children. In the castle, they learn that there is a 13th phantom, a beast stronger than an impurity lord. Mana and Itsuki entertain the idea that the 13th maiden might be male, and Itsuki begins to feel an attraction towards Seiya. However, Seiya keeps popping in, so Itsuki ends up spending time with him. As Seiya leans in, Itsuki panics and runs away. He also runs away from Narcissus. Mayu reveals that she used to be an impurity. She admits that Shangri-La was the one that helped her fit in. She convinces Itsuki to try again with the other two male characters and he concedes. He requests the two males to perform the love ritual with him. However, before things go further, Mana tells them that the 13th maiden can't be a male. In the next scene, we learn that Itsuki takes a break from finding the 13th maiden in favor of training his star children with Alfie. The next day, Itsuki and his star children face the 12th impurity lord. After an intense battle, Itsuki comes out victorious. However, despite defeating the last impurity lord, a 13th maiden is still needed to defeat the 13th phantom. Meanwhile, Alfie knows that she's the 13th maiden and attempts to get Itsuki to fall in love with her, but ends up giving up and confronting Itsuki about her identity. However, she decides to chicken out and gives Mana a videotape to give to Itsuki. It turns out to be a tacky romance show that Alfie wants to mimic, so Itsuki takes her out on a date. Back in her room, Itsuki asks her to have his star child. She agrees, but her stomach gets upset. Once she gets better, they do the love ritual and kiss. When the 13th star child is born, they notice that the child seems slightly different from the others. Alfie also falls ill a few moments later. In the palace, Shangri-La informs Itsuki that he needs to sacrifice himself to seal away the 13th phantom since it cannot be defeated. Accepting his fate, he buys presents for his girls, including Mana. The following day, he tells Mana that he will seal the 13th phantom. As Itsuki is about to enter the 13th labyrinth, the 12 maidens get informed that Itsuki will have to sacrifice himself to seal the 13th phantom. The king tells the girls they need their aid to perform the ritual. However, Itsuki decides to try and defeat the 13th phantom. While fighting the beast, the ritual begins, but Mahiru chooses to stop the ritual. The other maidens decide to rush to help defeat the 13th phantom. The maidens transfer their powers to their kids to create 3 legendary warriors. Itsuki and his star children fight off the 13th phantom. In the middle of the battle, Alfie dies defending Itsuki. Itsuki and his star children combine to create one powerful warrior to defeat the beast. Itsuki manages to take down the beast and they all return to the palace. Itsuki and Mahiru decide to return home and the other maidens see them off. However, before they teleport back to the other world, all the maidens decide to jump in. In their world, Alfie and the star children gets revived and Mana also receives a human form. Itsuki, the maiden's Mana, and all their children decide to live their lives in Itsuki's world. Conception has a lot of odd and questionable moments. It's a harem anime, but scenes that tend to be too hot get censored and words get bleeped before anything happens. While there are a few scenes you might get caught dead watching in public, most scenes are generally safe for viewing. If you plan on dipping your toes into Eki territory, this show feels like a decent entry point.